What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back at you with another video, live at you right here in my hometown of Manville, New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, where are we? Like I said, we're in Manville, doing a little war reenactment from the Revolutionary War period. Real cool stuff going on in Manville, as we have a little bit of an overcast day, a little slight rain coming, drizzling a little bit, but hey, listen. Your boy's sporting the hat, so you know what? We had to come correct. You know what I'm saying? A lot of history here in Manville. A lot of things that I didn't know about. But how cool that this reenactment can come to our town, do a little something for us, and I'll take you with a little bit of journey with me and get some houses. Here we've got a lot of historic houses in the Somerset County area representing here, and we're going to be showing their support. Link in the description below where you can go to these houses, check them out if you're a history buff. But really cool things, you know, just to kind of give you a background or a story. In New Jersey, there was a Battle of Millstone here, and during this period, George Washington and his troops, crossed over here at one point. I can't say I know a lot about history. I haven't lived here enough, but you know what? Today, your boy and you are going to learn a little something here. Why Manville is famous for what it is. So why don't you come on along with me? Let's go take a ride together. Back in 2 and 2.
And welcome to the borough of Manville, a Revolutionary War victory town. As colonial troops marched up and down our main street, crossing the famous Van Vechten Bridge over the Raritan River. We are going back to the future today. The year is 1778, and here in this area, the Middlebrook Troop Encampment helped secure victory for the 13 colonies to be free. I would like to thank Greg Glatsko of Hurd's Brigade for organizing this event. Greg grew up here and is a 1989 proud graduate of Manville High School and is passionate about our nation's history. Today's reenactment is a beautiful reminder of our country's early history and its path to winning the Revolutionary War as we celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary. Thanks for coming out today to relive history. Greg.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for coming. A couple of things. As the mayor pointed out, that I am a Revolutionary War reenactor. I'm also a former resident of the town of Manville for 25 years. I graduated from each of the schools of Manville: Weston, Alexander Batro, and the Manville High School. I'm class of 1989. Go Mustangs. So, basically, again, good morning and welcome. Can I just do this without it? We gotta do so, before we start, I'd like to do something that's very fitting and appropriate, and that is that if we could all turn around and look at the flag, I'd like to have everybody do the Pledge of Allegiance. And if the Boy Scouts would come on over and lead us, that would be great.
Troop 193.
Troop 193. Huzzah. So if everybody would take off your hats, put your hand over your heart, we could start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Huzzah. All right, for the general public, if you ever hear the word huzzah, it was an 18th century word, means that you approve of something. So if you hear us yell huzzah, that is, hey, we approve of something. So if you approve of us in our reenacting, And what we do here, don't hesitate to say huzzah, and we'll understand it and we'll know what you're talking about. So this is a learning experience. Everybody's going to learn something today, and it's our wish that everybody takes at least 1 to 5 things away from this event that you learned about. First thing that I like to talk about is, why are we doing this? Well, we have to celebrate the past to ensure the future. And it's a big statement. And what we do is we honor those patriots that gave their lives, that were wounded, that were crippled because of their focus on securing liberty, independence, and freedom from Great Britain. So that's why we basically do, to honor them. As the mayor said, in 2026, we're going to be in a anniversary year for the signing of the Declaration. 250 years ago, 56 signers went to Philadelphia and signed the Declaration of Independence. Now, real quick question. Let me see who the historians are here. Could anybody tell me what the month, day, and year that the Revolutionary War actually started? Anybody? Anybody? Hand up. Anybody? Nanette Peterson? No? There you go. All right. And then we have Stephanie Carlson. Cornelison.
Stephanie?
Stephanie available? All right, and then next is a woman who's been living in town for 62 years, and she, I'm sorry. I just like to acknowledge there's a woman here that's been a town resident for 62 years, and she has taught me everything that I know about history in Central Jersey, and she pushed me to become a reenactor. So, Mom, if I would.
Thanks, Mom.
This is John Latsko and Marie Latsko, my mom. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
To get done from our organization's standpoint. Thank you very much.
Don't trip on the logs. Follow those roots.
Wow, 18. Am I in your way there? 1858.
Sure. I filed for unemployment. Yep, I filed.
I don't know what it's worth now. He's got to guard it. Otherwise, I'm taking his Jeep that he has at home. I'd rather have a rifle.
Bring out the dead.
Good. Please assemble for an important message from the mayor.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, Friends of the Wallace House, Old Dutch Parsonage, and we're here with
Brian?
Hey, Brian.
Paul?
Hey, Paul.
Connor.
Hey, Connor. Thanks for being here, guys. I do appreciate it. Can you guys give me a brief description of what the Wallace House at 250 is and where to find you guys and why this house is so famous?
Sure. Well, as we approach the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, it's also the 250th anniversary of the Wallace House. Purchased in the end of the year 1775, built in 1776, unknowingly in time for it to serve as Washington's headquarters during the Middlebrook Cantonment in 78 through 79.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Seems like it's deep, rich in history. Where can we actually find this house?
Somerville?
In Somerville. Okay. Is there an exact address in Somerville where we can find you?
71 Somerset Street, Somerville, New Jersey.
Fantastic.
Visit both the Wallace House and Old Dutch Parsonage on our joint state historic site there.
That's great. Now, is there in the house, is there an area where you've got, a foyer and things laid out? What can we expect if we go?
Well, what's exciting right now is we're preparing in time for the house's 250th birthday. It's going under construction again, but for good cause, a major historic preservation project. Work on roofs, chimneys, clapboards, framing, foundations, all coincidentally coinciding with its original construction 250 years ago, and preparing it, of course, to open for the anniversary of Washington's headquarters and also to continue to serve as a landmark for the next 250 years to come. So we're going to have all kinds of events on the outsides, explaining what's going on, inviting people to learn about the process of historic preservation and how important it is to keep and continue to share the story of Washington's headquarters here.
Well, I have one thing to say to you all. Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Thank you guys very much for coming and supporting Manville here and giving us some history here today. Do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the Abraham Stats House. Am I saying that right, ladies?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts of Manville for coming here and giving us a little piece of history here today. This looks pretty serious. The house obviously has some history to it. Why don't you explain to our viewers at home why this house is famous for what it is?
The Stats family was when George Washington was here at this time, his generals stayed at several houses in the area, and this is the house that Von Steuben, thank you. I keep going to so many houses. And he was he wrote the book on how to drill the troops back in the Revolutionary times. And he stayed at that house and met with George Washington and his other generals.
Interesting. Wow. I cannot believe that. So in this house, Washington actually stayed here.
Well, he visited and he met them
stayed there for several months. And then Washington and many others were there during those 2 months.
Wonderful. Wow. Okay. So we can find this house in South Bound Brook, is that correct?
Yes.
Right on Von Steuben Lane.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right over the Queens Bridge.
Right over the Queens Bridge. Okay.
Off of Main, you'll find the historic site sign.
Okay.
And you make a turn, left turn.
Now, do you have to make a reservation or any out?
We have open house.
Open house.
Every second Saturday of a month. It's a free tour.
Wonderful. And what are the hours on that?
10 a.m. 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Wonderful.
And we have lots of other activities scheduled throughout the year at different times for different events.
That's fantastic. And of course, donations are always appreciated
Yes.
here at the Abraham Stats House. We do appreciate it, ladies. Thank you so much for coming. We do appreciate it. The support is fantastic. Looks like the rain is finally starting to subside. That's a great thing, but do appreciate it, ladies. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the Van Vechten House. What a display of history, literature, and things about the Van Vechten house. We are with...
Well, Linda Young, I'm the secretary for the society.
Hi, Linda. Thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Let me talk to you about the house.
Yeah, we can. Let's talk about this house. What makes this house so famous? Talk to me.
Okay, well, sometime in the late 1690s, that's almost 4 centuries ago, a Dutchman from Albany, New York, came south and bought land. He bought 830 plus acres that ran from the Raritan River all the way to the mountain because he wanted to establish a farmstead. We don't know what his house looked like, but we suspect it might have been something like this. And because there are ruins in the basement of the current structure, which looks like this, down under here there are strange walls in the basement. So we suspect that the original home was there and it grew over the centuries. So the current house has a marker that indicates that it was built in 1725. That date is because it's the first time there's a map that shows a building at this location, 1725. But obviously the man who built this house, Derek, was born in 1699, and his baptismal record says he was born on the Raritan. So we suspect that he was living in the house that his father built that has since disappeared.
Interesting. Where can we find you in New Jersey?
Well, we're right across the Van Vechten Bridge going north from Main Street in Manville. And you turn left at the traffic light and go all the way to the dead end, because we're buried in the back of a industrial park that was built on farmland when the family had to sell it.
Is that right? So this is in our backyard. I bet everybody from Manville didn't even know that this house even existed at one point.
Well, there's a good idea that probably a lot of people don't know that it exists.
Now, can I ask you, is the house open for public or tours or anything like that?
Yeah,
or?
we're open every Tuesday from 11 to 3, and we're open on the 2nd and the 4th Saturdays from 12 to 3. So anybody's welcome to come then, or if you want to make a special arrangement, you can call or visit our website and arrange for a special visit, which we do sometimes because people come from all over the country sometimes to do research at our headquarters building.
Super fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the insight, and thank you so much for sharing this great knowledge
Come on
with
and
us.
see us.
We will. I will.
All right.
Thank you.
We're happy to see you.
Okay, thanks. And ladies and gentlemen, our next table brings us all the way to the Heritage Trail Association. Heritage Trail. Thank you folks for being here. We do appreciate it. You guys look fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and giving us a little history of Manville and Somerset County, if you will. If you could state your names and what you all do for the Heritage Trail.
I'm Cindy Blumenkrantz. I'm the president of Heritage Trail Association.
Eric Blumenkrantz, treasurer.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Do appreciate it. Welcome.
So the Heritage Trail Association was formed in the mid-1990s, and it was decided to be a group that would do tours of Somerset County and highlight Somerset County history that most people didn't, and still today don't even know is in their own backyard. So Heritage Trail Association's headquarters are the Philip Van Horn House, which is that White House on the hill across the street from the baseball park. Target is in our backyard. And so that's the way we look at it. The property went from the river up the Middle Brook, which is on the other side of 287, to Chimney Rock, over around Findern and back down to the river. So it was a good chunk of property. So Eric and I portray the Van Horns generally. I'm not Mrs. Van Horn today. But we do that, and we have a group of docents and board members that keep the programs going. The great thing about the Van Horn House is we are not a museum, and so because of that, we can dress it as anything we want to. Last October weekend journey, we became the ship, the Antelope, which was one of Philip Van Horn's privateering ventures. So you stepped on ship, you talked to the captain, you became part of the crew, you learned navigation, and then you came into the boatswain's mate and learned how to raise the sails and the anchor and lower them. And then we had swab school where you learned how to shoot and fight with swords and tie knots. We do that kind of stuff, guided interactive tours. We have speakers, authors. Every month is something different. So we're pretty excited to be here. Heritage Trail wrote the Five Generals bus tour, which included all of these 5 houses here as the 5 Generals. So the bus tour is our copyrighted property, but we do it with our friends and our other groups. Pull everybody in so that you know where the 5 Generals houses are. You can go back and volunteer and whatever else. And I have to say, we are excited to be part of the very first Manville History Day.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Thank you so much.
Wait.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. So, even though we're not a museum, there are a couple pieces, and like everybody to come by and visit, and you can learn how this historic house, built in 1750, is related to the Apollo astronauts and Steven Spielberg.
What?
Yes. Come by and visit.
I think we're the only historic house that has those 2 direct connections. So if you want to find out about it, you have to come back in September because the house windows are being restored and it won't have any access until September. But
That is fascinating.
we have a direct connection to the Apollo moon missions and Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Who knew until now? Wow, that's
Thanks for
great.
remembering that. That's a good one.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thank
Do
you.
appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is for the kids to sign.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our next table here is the Jacobus Vanderveer House and Museum. Holy cow, look at this piece of history. History, and history. Who do we have here today?
Hello, my name is Paula Podgorski. I'm a trustee and a docent at the Vanderveer House, and I've been with them for several years now. We are a very important house located in Bedminster, New Jersey, the location of where General Henry Knox lived for a good part of the year between 1778 and 1779. So the house was his winter quarters where he stayed with his wife Lucy and their daughter Lucy. And while he was there, his men were up in the hills, what we call the hills now. They were in what we call a cantonment, and that is where he trained them. So he built a building called the Academy there, and that is where he trained his men. And so it was the first military training school for the Americans, so it's very historically significant. And if you come to the Vanderveer House, you'll see a professional model of that cantonment on our second floor. And we do various events during the year. Colonial Christmas and Weekend Journeys to the Past. We participate in the 5 Generals House Tour. We have our Field of Honor coming up on June 7th. And a few other things. We have school days 2 times a year. And we actually host the Manville School. So each fall we have the 5th graders from Manville School come up, and we have about 110 of those students, and they participate in like a 3-hour program. We have a professional actor come, we have a blacksmith and spinning ladies and lace ladies, and we give tours of the house.
A lot of exciting things coming up for you all. Well, these are great things. How can we find you?
So we have a website. It's jvanderveerhouse.org. I believe I think that's correct. J Vanderveer House. If you type it in, it'll come up. We're on off Route 206 in Bedminster, as I said. So if you go to the website, you'll see our upcoming events. If you'd like a private tour, we can arrange that. It has to be done, of course, ahead of time, but we do those. We're not generally open, so if you want to come see the house, go to the website and contact the museum coordinator, and we'll try to set something up for you or come out to one of our events.
That's
I'd love to
wonderful.
see you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Thank you for coming out, giving us a little piece of history here today.
It's my pleasure.
I have one thing to say to you. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Order your firelocks. You gotta go the other way. Remember, you're on the right side now. Opposite me.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you lived in this period, there is a lot of history here. Muskets, rifles, ammo. Talk about history. Who do we have here today?
And here we have New Jersey money.
Oh, this is money?
This is exactly money. You could tell New Jersey, the date, and what it's worth. All right, I have, what's it called? And back here, this is the back of it. And if you duplicated it, you were put to death. So you could not duplicate anything at all. These are also New Jersey.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. What's the denominations on these?
Right
Yeah.
here. 18 pence.
18 pence.
1 shilling.
1 shilling.
1 shilling. These two back here are 3 shillings. This is 3 pence. You can tell by what the date is. This is here is 12 shillings. Okay, this here is 6 pence, and that's Connecticut. Huh. All right, that's Connecticut. Then you have, this is $4. Wow. This is what $4 would look like. All right, this here is $10, New York.
So let me ask you this. So in today's standards, okay?
Right.
This right here, the
Right.
$10, what would be equivalent today? If you could, is $10 $10 or is
Probably
it
not.
or
Probably
$100
not.
or
It could be $100
or 1,000?
Well, I pay more than $10 for each one, and I did these are the latest ones I just picked up. This is Pennsylvania, this is Georgia that I picked up.
Wow.
And this is Maryland, and this is Massachusetts. But it was
Fantastic.
called Massachusetts Bay. All right. Okay, that's what it was called then. But this is all original.
All money.
Well, it's all original money. And once it's spent, they would put a hole through it. All right, so that was it. It was finished. You couldn't use it anymore. 1777 French Charleville pistols.
Wow.
There were 3 companies that came from France. Charleville, and you have Saint on today. The other one I'm not too sure of. But these are, what's nice about these here, let me put this over here. What's nice about this musket here, you have the soldier's name, you have his initials, and you have his, what's it called? The coat of arms.
Wow.
His coat of arms. So here's this musket with the original bayonet, 1777. This is a model 1771, 1763. This here is also another Charleville. This here is the Committee of Safety. This is pre-war, and it's got the U.S. on the lock. Now this musket here is a militia like those gentlemen that you see out there. You got to remember, we were all farmers, so this soldier put this together himself.
Absolutely, I would. Yes. If you can tell me what's going on here, what you doing?
Let me show you. This is wool right off the sheep. This is actually Tina.
Wow.
This is Tina, and I have another one here. But what we do, you have to wash it first.
Okay.
And that's the only time that you can put the wool in the hot water, is the first time. And it washes out the lanolin, which is water soluble. So most of it comes out, and then you can spin. But in order to do that, if you look at the wool, you can see the little squiggles in it.
Right.
So this tells you how many revolutions I can get on my wool without overspinning. So the sheep's natural wool already tells me that in the beginning. So what we have to do is shred it a little bit.
Okay.
And then you put it on to a wool card to comb it.
You said a wool card.
A wool card.
Okay.
This is called carding. You're carding the wool. So basically it's you're combing it like you comb your hair, so you want the wool to all be going in the same direction.
Huh.
So the idea here is that once it's all going in the same direction, we're going to roll it up right off the wool card into a tube. And this is called a roll log, and it makes it very easy for me as
It's a little bit more pliable.
spinner to
a little bit.
pull down the fibers.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add that to what I'm spinning here. This is the wool I've spun. And wool, if you look at it microscopically, has little
I don't know what you call the little prickles on it.
Right, right.
That attach to itself nicely, so that when I need to add a new line, it just connects really well. And then I just pull down just so many fibers and keep the spin going, and it makes a yarn. So this yarn can go to the weaver, and he can weave it into cloth, or you can knit it into gloves or a hat or scarves or whatever.
So you would give you would have to do this and give it to the weaver. You know, the weaver's not going to do this for you, obviously. You would have to kind of give it to him and say, okay, I need this done.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So now what I do is I wind this up when I've had a nice drop there, so I can wind it up onto what is called a spindle. This spindle is also on a spinning wheel. But before spinning wheels, or if you didn't have a spinning wheel, you can always use a drop spindle. And interestingly enough, there's some form of this drop spindle of twisting fibers into usable yarn for clothing everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world you'll see this. Some of them are spun this way, some of them are spun this way, but mostly in the American colonies it was.
So how much would you fill this whole thing up? And I mean, how much is too much, or is there ever enough, or is there such a thing?
When it starts to get full, it starts to get heavy, and it doesn't want to spin as easily. So that's when I will take it off of the spindle, and I'll wind it into a ball.
Oh, look
like
at this!
So.
Wow.
And then the next thing I want to do is I need to know how much is on here.
Right.
So I put it on what is called a winder.
Wow.
This is a winder. This is 18 inches each side. So I have 2 yards here, exactly. And all I need to do is count how many that I have and multiply by 2, and it'll tell me how many yards I have. So when I take it to the weaver or the knitters or whoever wants to buy it, I'll know exactly how much is here, and they'll know how much is here.
So if you can humor me, what would be the cost back then of just that? If you can ballpark it, I mean, there's not an exact science, but if you know.
Oh, I don't think I could tell you. I don't know.
That's okay. That's all right. Your friend over here, he's got some currency from back in the day, so maybe he can tell us too. Who knows?
That's a great question. I could look it up and see, check out some actual records and see what they sold the wool for. It depends also too on how thick it is. This is very thin.
Yeah.
Some is thicker, so and depending on if it had colors in it, you can throw colors into it, or you can dye it.
Wow, that's
you can
something.
Do all kinds of things with wool, so it would probably depend on how much processing it went through.
Wonderful.
So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Azah.
All right.
May I take a picture of you? Can we put you in chains or something? Did you have to?
What's your taste?
Are you going to start cooking soon? Do you want it 4 or do you want it less?
What question is that?
The Manville Rescue Squad keeping everything in check, making sure safety precautions are measured, making sure everybody doesn't set themselves on fire or worse, get struck with a musket.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Andy. Andy's already trying to shoot people. Everyone ready? Everyone ready! And we're not waiting for Dan over there, the late one. Hey, ready! Freeze! Dead! Fire!
Yeah. But if you win, I'll give you $3. But if none of us win, I'll give you the $3 you give me a knife.
still chewing his thing.
So what do we have going on here? I mean, preparing food for the troops?
We are literally feeding the army.
Feeding the army. And again, this is exactly what we would be seeing back in the day. Fresh break bread.
Yes.
Tea.
Yes.
Kibasi too? And
Yes,
cheeses.
and cheese.
That's fantastic.
And we will be eating well later. Cookies and grapes. Because grapes were available. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm not.
That's all right.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Here, really.
All right.
Ready to fire. Then I would wait for the commands. They would give me the band, to present, which means I would pull the thing. When it's on half cock, that's a safety. Pulling the trigger doesn't do anything, okay? That keeps me from shooting myself by accident. Pull it to full cock, and then I would aim. Now, watch carefully here, okay? You're going to see a spark. Did you see it?
I don't think it would, but.
Ken Miller here fixing his shoe in the battle. He got it busted up.
The shoes fell apart a lot in those days.
Shoe fell apart in them
Being
days.
accurate.
Solely made in Italy.
75 caliber, only made in Italy. It's a beautiful musket. Am I getting it right? It is a musket, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And what caliber musket would it be?
75.
75.
Right. From Pedisoli.
Can I ask you? Only because back in my day I would play paintball as a kid, so I would put paintballs in our guns, and our paintball guns, the ammo was never really accurate because it was circular. How accurate were these?
These are pretty accurate at a certain range. Mostly close up.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just show you something here. The original house is here. It's here. Maybe you could hold that for a minute.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Wow, what is that? Oh, this is where you're okay.
With this type of event.
The Brigade of American Revolution put that out, and they are festive.
This is a bayonet.
Right.
Wow. Same thing. Made in Italy.
That's what they charge.
It's actually made for this gun.
I asked him because I was kind of reducing stock. I said, can I cut
Show
this?
you how this works here. This attaches.
Right on that. Okay.
Right-hand side, there's the building there.
And it just locks into place
Locks
like that.
into place.
How about that?
Right. Now, you can touch it. It's basically a prop. It ain't sharp.
Sure, but it was though.
Right. So that's your full. When they say man bayonets, that's what they're talking about.
I have a lot of friends that are
Magnificent. Thank you for sharing. We're here with the mayor of Manville. Thank you very much for bringing this to our town, Mayor. We do appreciate it. Want to say anything back home to the folks?
I just want to say Manville's such a great town, a victory town on the trail to Yorktown, and we live in a very special town. I love Manville as so many other people that live here, and God bless us. God bless America.
Huzzah!
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 For long distance, you can take a small horse and put it in here, and then the horse will bring you from battlefield to battlefield. This is all about mobility. The firepower is limited. It's not a huge cannon. But in military, there's a saying called fire draws fire. So when you shoot, you scoot, and then you shoot again, and then you scoot, shoot, 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 shoot. That's what the principle is behind this. It wasn't hidden behind earthworks or anything like that. It was just shoot, run, shoot, run, shoot, run. Answer your question.
Good.
They try to balance it.
Once you know the two angles that you're sighting in on, you could almost do it by drawing lines on the map, and you'll know exactly how far away and what direction your target is.
That was then. Nowadays, all they have is compass. And
Nowadays, they got satellites flying around overhead.
This is actually, but going back 10, 20 years ago. That we have from the mill, but really this is our main display right there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it shows the first picture of the mill, as you see it described there. And then years later, I took this picture not knowing of that picture. And look at the resemblance.
Yeah,
it
really.
was almost in the same spot.
Really, yeah.
And I didn't know about this picture, but I'm so glad I did take it. And that just shows it right before the collapse. I claim that that's the last known picture of the mill standing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then, of course, the poster of the battle that took place there. That's important. That's why we're trying to bring recognition to this mill, because of the battle. And then we have just the other pictures of the mill there, the bridge.
Now that house just eventually was demolished, what, maybe 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken?
That's actually the mill. And that's
what
happened to the mill.
Yeah.
And this is the last owner of the mill, Wilbur Smith.
Wilbur Smith, right.
And I knew him very well.
How about that?
And that's my driving force behind us, because I believe that between Wilbur and I, we could have saved the mill if we had all the avenues that we have known to us today. So that's my personal quest, to make recognition, get a signage put on the mill, and also get it listed on the National Register of Historical Places, which is a pretty tough thing to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we're doing that.
Yes, we are.
And I'm so proud to do that for Wilbur.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know he's smiling.
Yes, he is. I'm so glad for that. Yeah,
wow, look at that.
Yeah, this here is, we're just figuring it's from the Zarapath School. And these are underclassmen in the middle. They have their stockings, their knee-high stockings, but their upperclassmen have leather boots on, a little bit more classier. And then we see the guy on the waterfalls. Check him out. Would you let your son do that at 10 years old?
Back then, absolutely.
Back then, he's absolutely right. And these are artifacts from the bridge. And the sign on the bridge is these two signs. This sign is actually that one right there.
Oh, is that right there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, there it is.
This is that absolute sign. This one I do have, but it's broken.
Okay.
And I didn't know it. It's broken on the bridge. And I always thought it was broken during transport over the years.
So it was called the Weston Bridge, and then now known as
Wilbur Smith Bridge.
Wilbur Smith Bridge.
Because Wilbur Smith was the last owner of the mill, and he did so much for our community. Wilbur was a pillar in our community as far as with the church, as Sunday school activities, and also wiring. Wilbur Smith wired many, many buildings around this area that we all know. He started his business in 1910.
Wow.
And I was so fortunate to share so many stories with him, and he shared with me, I should say, about his electrical business, because I'm an electrician too.
That's great.
So we had that in common, and I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to make that acquaintance. So that's why I'm doing this, to help Wilbur out, getting his mill recognized again, and just bring it to the general public to understand what the importance of this site is, and I hope I follow through with that.
We appreciate, Bill. Thank you. We thank you very much for coming out and giving us a little bit of history here today in Manville. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we go back to this picture of Wilbur, and I was talking to Bill, and you know how what I do at Roosevelt Hill Cemetery in town. I try to pay homage to some pillars of the community, and what this gentleman has done, you know, in Somerset, you know, and what he's contributed over the years. I told Bill, I said, I think a tombstone in his honor at Roosevelt Hill Cemetery for the 2025 haunt season in Manville would be a great thing. And Bill's going to help me out write his epitaph.
Absolutely. We're going to do that.
I appreciate it, Bill. Thanks again.
You're welcome. I'm excited about that.
Me too. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, right? This is Greg, ladies and gentlemen. Greg, thank you so much for coming here and being a part of the special event, our first annual war reenactment here in Manville. So, thank you very much for coming, and huzzah!
Huzzah! Huzzah! All right, well, thank you very much for having us. You know, this is a very important to the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's going to happen next year, and a lot of the municipalities that have a rich Revolutionary War historic background or some event happening in their town are putting on different displays and different themed history events that tell the story of their town, what happened, what, you know, if there was a battle, who was there. Of course, we want to know why we're doing it. It was everybody loves liberty, freedom, and we broke away from Great Britain. But tremendous thing to do, and you know, if you love history and you love knowledge, it's a great thing to do. Come out for the day, join one of the houses of the 5 houses. They're always accepting memberships, and there's a lot to learn.
Excellent. Greg, got to ask you, what got you into this? I mean, you know, obviously something had to spark something in you, you know, to want to do it.
Let's roll back almost 50 years ago,
okay.
Which was in 1976, which was the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And basically what that was, they had a march, and the march was Washington Rochambeau. Rochambeau was the general of the French army, and they marched right down Main Street of Manville on their way to Rocky Hill and Princeton. And on one of those occasions where they marched down, they stopped in East Millstone, which is right near Colonial Park. They camped for the night, and my mom took me over there with my other siblings to go see what was going on. And gentleman that was there carved me a piece of roast beef off the spit, gave me some apple, cinnamon apple, and from there I was hooked. I said, you know, one day when I have my health, when I have my wealth, and when I have time, I'm going to do this.
So, Greg, if somebody wanted to say get involved with what you guys do, are you looking for volunteers later down the road, or?
Absolutely. So, if you look at the membership of our group, a lot of the guys are in their 60s. They're going to be bowing out, meaning that they're going to retire from the craft. And we're always looking for new people. And that's another thing, another reason why I got involved in this. In 1976, there was 100 guys that would show up at a parade. Then, 1977, only 25 guys would show up at a parade. And then in 1980, there would only be 5 guys left at a parade. And I said to myself, if I don't do this, if I don't carry on to the next generation, we're all going to disappear and we'll forget about the Patriots.
Right. Well, listen, Greg, we do appreciate you coming out here and supporting Manville and giving us some slice of history here today. I've learned a lot. Like you said in the beginning, you know, if you could take 5 things away, I've taken more than 5.
Awesome.
And so I've learned it a lot. And thank you so much for doing it. As everybody here in Manville does appreciate it as well.
And it makes me very happy and proud that we achieved what we were looking for. And that is everybody walk away with 5 new things that they learned about it.
Absolutely. So you heard it right from the horse's mouth, if you will. Get involved. You know, if you have something like this in your town, come on by. Learn a little bit what's going on in your town. You'll be quite surprised, actually, what goes on in your backyard. You know, again, you know, there are things that I learned, of course, here. But as always, do appreciate you stopping by. Greg, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Thank you again. And guys, we'll see you in the next video. We'll be back.
Go Mustangs!
Go Mustangs. That's right. And we'll say it together. Huzzah on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Huzzah!